Oh man, so the much anticipated Optimism airdrop happened just hours ago. Many people were claiming their tokens, they're unable to receive them. The price dropped 65%. This was a huge moment for Optimism, a key layer 2 scaling solution backed by Vitalik Buterin over Ethereum as well. What is going on? Should we be buying Optimism? What do I think for the long-term prospects? We're going to look at the tokenomics, do a deep dive to see whether we think Optimism can long-term 1000x from here. You're not going to want to miss this one. Hit up the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to trade Optimism, you can trade it using OKX. Links in description. If you can trade many other cryptocurrencies, you've got Prime XBT link in the description, offering you up to a $7,000 bonus, which you can trade with without actually touching your deposit. So you just need to sign up. Links in description. You deposit using my coupon code Ijaz, and once you've done that, your bonus will automatically be allocated to you, and you can start trading. But what are we here to talk about? Optimism. Optimism token plummets 65% following hyped airdrop. So we know there was some extreme hype behind this, right, guys? A lot of hype. We know it's a key layer 2 Ethereum scaling solution. And we can see here from the OKX chart, when you log in, you can see here how we opened up on the day. You had an opening of straight at 0.4. It ran all the way up to $2.17 before then falling back down to lows of 93 cents, and then you're getting that volatility spike up again all the way to about $2.40. And guys, if you want to trade this, check out OKX in the link's description, because this is the volatility you want as a trader. If you know how to manage your risk, if you're experienced and you can take a portion of that 155% increase, if you're not trading margin, like I don't trade margin, that kind of volatility is what you need to make a significant return on some of your trades. So again, if you know how to do stop losses, if you know how to do take profits, if you know how to manage your risk in trades, then consider doing that. If you don't, you can join our course member live streams, ijaz.uk/member. We can walk you through some of those tactics as well. So as you can see, from a trading perspective, it's been super volatile and a great opportunity for people to buy and sell. But the reason you're getting this dump effect is whenever people claim their airdrops, they do just sell it. They see it at a high price and they just sell it, right? Because they got a free airdrop. Why don't they sell it before the price tanks to the downside? They don't believe in the project and they'll start to dump it. So let's carry on seeing what exactly happened. So back in April, Optimism said they would airdrop 5% of the total OP supply. OP is the token for Optimism. So that's 215 million tokens. Okay, so 250,000 users were eligible for this. And then what happened was, you could see that there was a bunch of congestion hours ago and people were struggling to access it. You saw huge activity and they really did struggle. I think this pretty much sums it up. The team behind Optimism, OP drop number 1, had a turbulent launch. I think that's a polite way for them to say that it was a pain nonetheless. Leading cryptocurrency exchange Binance also reported delays for deposits on the Optimism network due to increased user demand. According to Etherscan, 71,000 wallets hold the OP token. More than 88,000 addresses claimed it, which means that 17,000 dumped immediately. And that makes sense when you look at the price. The price point did dump immediately. But that's not what we're here to talk about. That's short-term trading. But long-term, can Optimism 1000x from here? That is the question. And whenever we talk about this, I know a lot of people are new to crypto, and maybe they've come across something like Optimism with all the hype, and they want to ask the question, can this 1000x? Because that's always the question on people's mind. And we need to remember, what is the difference between market cap and price? This is a big mistake, right? Because people will be looking at the Optimism price right now and say, oh, it's $1. Of course it can 100x to $100, right? Of course it could 1000x to $1,000. Look at Bitcoin, it's at 50,000 at one point, right? That's not how it works. I know this is basic for a lot of you guys, but you have to look at market cap. Market cap is the value of the project, and that is what you can compare between one project and another. A simple example, ADA, which is sitting at, let's say, 0.40 cents, still has a much larger market cap than coins which have a price higher than it, okay? So you need to look at the market cap, and the market cap is calculated by the supply, how many coins are in circulation, multiplied by the current price. Okay, so let's walk through this together. Right now, if you go into CoinMarketCap or you go into CoinGecko, you will see that roughly there is 214 million OP tokens in supply right now. Okay, so 214 million tokens. Now, the current trading price is at about $1.28. No doubt this is going to move a lot by the time I post a video, but just so you can get an idea, we're sitting at a market cap of 279 million. That's the market cap, and that is what we can compare with other projects, because we have to ask ourselves a question. If we're going to 1000x from here, on something like Optimism, that would mean that market cap will need to 1000x from here as well, okay? That's the only way it happens. So let's walk through this together. And the way I want to do this is let's start off with where we are today, which is the 1x, okay? So you can see we're sitting where we are at $1.28, and we're sitting at 279 million in market cap. So let's take a simple one. Can we 10x from here? Can we 10x from here? And if we did, that would mean the price would be $12.8 per OP token, which means you guys would have made a 10x if you bought today. And for that to happen, the market cap of Optimism would have to sit at $2.79 billion. And we're going to come on to that, because for us to decide on if it can possibly get there, we need to compare it to some competitors. And I'm going to do that, as you can see on the screen shortly. Now, if we want a 50x, that would imply a $64 OP token, which would sit at 13 to 14 billion. Call it, round it up to $14 billion in market cap. So at this point, I'm going to come down and show you some comparisons, okay? So what I've done is I've listed out Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin is sitting at 602 billion in market cap. You can see Ethereum sitting at 234 billion in market cap. You can't compare really Optimism to these two, okay? Bitcoin is the store of value. It's the hardest money on earth, right? And that's in its own league. You then have Ethereum, which is the layer 1 solution, and nothing comes close to it in terms of market cap in all the other layer 1s. So you have to compare Optimism to its competitors, which are layer 2s. And the best layer 2 you have out there right now is Polygon Matic, okay? And Polygon Matic is currently sitting here at $5 billion. So almost what we're saying here is if for Optimism to do a 10x from here to get to 2.8 billion, it would need to be just over half the market cap of Matic. So not crazy, it's not crazy ambitious, right? It's possible to do that if they go and deliver on their roadmap. Now, the other thing we need to keep a note is we know the markets are quite suppressed right now, so we need to think about a bull run. And in a bull run, Matic can run far further higher than 5 billion, right? It could be 10 billion, 15 billion, 20 billion in market cap, maybe even work its way up to 30 billion in market cap. So you've got to give some of that credit here. Now, but we also need to understand that Matic are the gold standard in terms of layer 2s. Let's look at some of the other layer 2 solutions just to keep Optimism on a more level playing field. And you look at something like Loopring, which is LRC. They're sitting at 705 million in market cap, okay? So again, for Optimism to 10x from here, it would have to be 4 times the current market cap of Loopring. Okay, let's pick another example. Bubba Network sitting at 76 million. Already where we're at right now, you're looking at a 3.5. Optimism is already trading at 3.5 times the market cap of Bubba. Let's take a look at Immutable X, IMX, sitting at 250 million right now. Immutable Optimism is already at a higher market cap than Immutable X. So you can already see it's commanding a very high market cap, and we're going to come on to that in a second. So hopefully this gives you a good idea. And let's just keep going down the line. If we want 100x, here on Optimism, then you would need the market cap to sit at 28 billion here on Optimism. Now, I'm not going to say that's impossible. I could say 100x is possible, right? It's not the whole reason you do this exercise is to see whether our hope for a project or our expectations of a project are just hopium, or if it's actually possible in the realms of possibility. So I wouldn't say 100x is out of the realms of possibility, because like I explained, Polygon, Matic, in a bull run when things are going well, Bitcoin is back at all-time highs, there's no reason something like Matic can't be at $30 billion, and maybe even more, right? So for you to argue that Optimism couldn't go and compete with Matic or even be better than Matic, it's not out of the realms of possibility is what I'm saying here, okay? They've got a lot to prove out. They're super early in their journey, but that is what's being priced in if you want 100x. And then the 1000x, because sometimes you just say, oh, people go get your airdrop, it's going to 1000x, right? That crazy number that everybody wants to use. Is it going to 1000x? Well, let's look. That would mean a $279 billion market cap, which again would mean you're trading at a market cap bigger than Ethereum, bigger than the original layer 1 on its own. Okay, so again, maybe that's possible over the long run, right? If Ethereum goes towards back toward $10,000, like people said it could go reach $10,000, then you're looking at 1 trillion plus on Ethereum market cap, and then for Optimism to be a quarter of that, is that possible? Again, not completely out of the realms of possibility, but you're pricing in huge amounts of success all the way in there, and therefore, you're not leaving any room for error on a project which has just been born, right? So you need to be very, very careful with that. So let's take a look here at another really important characteristic which we have to look at, which is your circulating supply. The current circulating supply is 214 million OP tokens. We know the max supply written into the code is 4.3 roughly billion OP tokens. That means only 5% of the tokens are in circulating supply. Really, really important, guys. You only have 5% of the tokens in circulating supply. To put that into context, when we look at some of our other favorite layer 1 solutions, such as Phantom, you've got 80% in circulating supply, which means you've not got much more to come. Now, what's the problem with having more coins to come in the market? Well, the more coins that need to be released and minted into the market, it increases the supply of tokens, which reduces your price of the tokens. So what that often means in practicality is if you're investing in a coin like Optimism, and every time you see it trying to run up, often you find the founding team then just dump more coins in the market, dump more coins in the market, dump more coins in the market, and you just struggle to sustain these rallies. You have less pumpability, as I like to say. So that's definitely something else for us to watch out for, is that, because then that puts you at a crazy fully diluted market cap, which is my next warning. Because the current market cap, whilst it sits at 2.79 million, you've got to look at the fully diluted market cap. And the fully diluted market cap already puts you at $5.5 billion on this project. Hugely high, hugely overvalued in my opinion, and probably be the single reason why I won't be entering just yet on this project. Doesn't mean I don't think it's got a future, doesn't mean I won't keep it on my radar, continue to look at it, but the tokenomics aren't quite stacking up for me, the valuations aren't quite stacking up for me just yet. Okay, next thing to look at, which is super, super important, is to look at the allocations of the token. So from their airdrop, we know that 95% still needs to come into supply. How are they going to be split? Well, we know that here they're sharing their allocations, and we can take a look. So starting from the here, the 20% is going to go to retroactive public goods funding. Really complicated. I took a brief look into this, and basically what they're going to do is this is going to go to a primary mechanism to adequately and reliably reward public goods for the impact they provide. In essence, it's going into a separate little pot which they're going to spend on the network and the ecosystem, is what they say. 25% is then going to go to the ecosystem fund. The ecosystem fund is a proactive program, they say, meant to stimulate development in the collective ecosystem by providing funding to projects and communities. Okay, so they got the governance fund, a partner fund, a seed fund, and then allocated. So projects can apply for funding to build better apps on the layer 2. They then got 17% going to their investors, okay, quite a hefty portion there going to their investors, 19% to their core contributors, who they say have been working tirelessly to bring the Optimism Collective into existence. So straight away there, 36% gone as a big chunk, not to anybody in the community. 19% are going to these airdrops. We just saw 5% in airdrop 1, and the 14% will be allocated to airdrop 2 and 3 as and when they announce them. So that's the split of the tokenomics. Not my favorite. Not too many red alarm bells, but they're not my favorite. I mean, it just kind of seems a bit oddly balanced. I think the core contributor, Sugar Daddy's fine. That's a fairly large percentage, 36%. The airdrops, okay, how useful is that going to be? You know, it depends on how well you allocate these airdrops. If you're just dumping them onto people who don't believe in the project long term, that 19% is constantly just going to be dumped onto the market, further pushing price down. I mean, we can just look at airdrop 1 here on OKX. You can see the effect it had, right? People took the airdrop and sold it, took the airdrop and sold it. So, you know, how is that going to help the long-term platform? Now, you can see what are the eligibility of getting the airdrops, right? So they say you've got to be an Optimism user, you've got to be a repeat Optimism user, you need to vote in the DAOs, be a multi-sig signer, you would have donated to Gitcoin grants and priced out of Ethereum, okay? So these are some of the things which help you get some voting power behind getting an allocation on the airdrop. So that's the first thing. And then the next thing is to then look at, which I've not found yet, is what is their token distribution, right? So as in, what's the distribution going to be over time? So they've shared the percentages, but now we want to know, of the 95%, how are they going to distribute that into the market over the next few years? So it'd be good if anybody has that graph or has seen that chart, do share that with me. That's definitely something else I want to keep an eye out on, because that's something which will tell us how quickly they're going to dump that into the market. They've got to be really careful with that. With only 5% in the market now, which is obviously from the first airdrop, how are they going to start putting the rest of the coins into market, and what effect does that have on price, and does it stop the price from moving to the upside? So there you have it, guys. There is my summary on what I think about Optimism. Look, I think it's an interesting project, right? Layer 2s are always going to be in demand. I think it's interesting that this layer 2 is really trying to kick off, given that we know Ethereum 2.0 is around the way. A lot of people are saying, oh, what's going to happen to layer 2 solutions? My view is layer 2 solutions will be perfectly fine and will continue to be needed. Whether Optimism can really, start to grow and compete with the size of something like Polygon Matic is to be seen. They're already priced in at a huge valuation, so do be careful with your entry points. I personally won't be entering at this position. I may take some trades over at OKX. You guys can join me, links in description to do that, but I'll be doing that with a small part of my portfolio to play with a trade if I see an opportunity in the high volatility, but not as a long-term investment for me just yet. Hope you guys took something away from this tokenomics video and how you should be breaking down whether a coin can 1000x. What I'm trying to get you guys to do is say, hey, if I have a price target on a token, it's no longer good enough for me to just go, yeah, there's no reason that coin can't 100x, or no reason that coin can't, do a 200x from here. Go and calculate it. Go and look at your competitors. Go and calculate it and see, is it a realistic expectation, or are we then getting into silly numbers which just mathematically don't stack up? And when you do that, you can avoid yourself entering some projects which are just going to struggle for a long time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Smash up the like button and subscribe. I'm going to link up a few other interesting videos which I think you're going to find really useful, so go and watch those. Leave me a comment there, and I'll see you in the next one.